Genghis Khan's most extreme and brutal torture methods. One of the cruelest methods used to conquer people was to test them with starvation. For Genghis Khan, starvation became a tool of victory. As the Mongol armies conquered cities, they also laid sieges and waited until supplies ran out, not just days, sometimes for months. In 1219, during the campaign against the Khwarezmian Empire, the Mongols besieged Nishapur. There was no direct way to destroy the city. Therefore, they completely isolated it. They cut off food and water routes and poisoned nearby wells. They closed the city's exits, banning all ingress and egress. This was not a random war tactic, but a strategic calculation. Mongol engineers calculated how long the city's food reserves would last. Eventually, when starvation reached unbearable levels, the city's defense collapsed. Those who resisted the Mongols faced a horrifying reality. Persian historian Atta Malik Juvaini describes the events of that time as follows. People were forced to eat leather, grass, even the flesh of the dead. Corpses were in the streets. Dogs feasted on the dead flesh. When the war ended, the survivors with terribly weak bodies were either killed or enslaved. Starvation was a psychological weapon for Genghis Khan. Starvation did not just bring death, it condemned people to a slow, hopeless, and humiliating end. The cruelty of the Mongols did not remain only on the battlefield. The fate of captured women was one of the dark shadows of the conquests. When Bukhara fell in 1220, thousands of women and girls were captured. The noble ones were assigned to Mongol generals and even Genghis Khan himself. Others were distributed as slaves or left to their fate. Persian historian Juvaini states that women were ranked according to their beauty, age, and status, calling this a curse. The women of defeated peoples were not only concubines, but also symbols of the destruction of the enemy's legacy. Some were forcibly incorporated into Mongol households, while others were sold from Central Asia to China. Very few retained their identities. Most were renamed, and their original selves were forgotten. Another horrifying method in the Mongols' war strategy was the use of human shields. Captured populations from conquered cities were forced to walk in front of the Mongol army. The purpose was for these people to be the first targets of enemy arrows. During the siege of Urgench in 1221, thousands of women, children, and elderly served as buffers between the Mongols and the city walls. Some were tied up, others were used to dig trenches. Survivors of the battle were killed afterward. This method was not only a physical defense, but also a psychological warfare tool. It sent a clear message to all resistors. If you don't surrender, your loved ones will become our shield. Not only in battle, but also in executions, the Mongols used terrifying methods. In the 1223 Battle of the Kalka River, captured Russian princes were sentenced to a horrifying death. The princes were buried alive under a massive wooden platform. Mongol commanders sat atop, feasting while those below were crushed to death. This method was chosen to avoid spilling noble blood. At the same time, it was the most chilling display of humiliation and superiority. Betrayal was punished with the harshest penalty, being tied behind horses and dragged to death. This was done as a public punishment for traitors. Corpses were often left at city gates, serving as a terrifying warning remembered for years. The Mongol Empire ruled not only lands, but also people through fear and ruthless punishments. As Juvaini said, they came, destroyed, burned, killed, looted, and left. But the legacy they left was not just destruction. It was a symbol of a strategic, cold-blooded, and terrifying power. If you have felt to your core how the Mongols ruled not only lands but minds, don't forget to like the video, subscribe to the channel, and share your thoughts in the comments. So, what's next? The bloody conquests of Timur, or the discipline of the Roman legions? Perhaps the sacrificial ceremonies of the Aztecs? Because behind every great power, there is a hidden story, some written in blood, some carved in stone, but all unforgettable.